Welcome in, everybody, to Untold Sports Stories with Gerardo Byrne. Got a very special guest with me, Coach Lauren Horton.
Hello.
She is our women's volleyball coach here. She's been here. She just completed her what?
Six.
Sixth season. I bet I blew off on it.
That's
Just
right.
completed her sixth season. So what we're going to get into today is her background in the sport of volleyball, how she got her coaching start, her 6 years, and how she has progressed as the Earlham volleyball coach. And we'll talk about this past season and what to look forward to in the future. Coach Horton, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having
Of
me.
course. So we'll start from the beginning. Were you always a volleyball player? Did it start off? Because a few of the players I've talked to from this past year's team, some of them started when they were in sixth grade, seventh grade. Mostly they got into it because their friends got into it. Were you a volleyball player since the day you started doing sports, or was it just you gradually got into it?
I I think I walked out of the womb with like a gym rat mentality. I'm one of four. Sorry, I'm one of five girls. So all my sisters played volleyball, basketball, everything. So yeah, I've
Wow.
been doing sports for a long time, and not just volleyball. I played basketball. I actually played tennis in college too. But been playing basketball, track, doing something every all like my entire life.
We may have had a conversation about this, and I asked a lot of coaches about this because now you see a lot of kids at a younger age start focusing more on just one sport and like to
Hmm.
play year round.
Yeah.
How do you feel playing a lot of different sports as a kid helped you, growing up?
Yeah, it's about being an athlete, and I think actually one of the USA volleyball players just literally put something out in the social media world saying we being just a volleyball player, absolutely you can excel as a volleyball player if that's all you've done, but kind of being a well-rounded athlete and having played many sports will make you better at specific sports. So I truly do believe in that, and I think again, being athletic, you get away with more things, right? Or
Yeah.
or you're able to pick up concepts quicker because you've done it before, or you've seen that, or your muscles remember, that kind of stuff. So absolutely, I think the reason for maybe my success and even as a coach could be attributed to having had multiple sports under my belt, seeing different coaches in different aspects, and also being an athlete in different sport realms and on different surfaces. It all plays together.
Of course, and I personally feel like having been a kid who played a lot of sports growing up and even all the way through high school, that if I had just stuck to one sport, I maybe missed those connections of
Hmm.
having more friends playing
Yeah.
as a younger sport.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, my best friend in grade school played all the sports I did. And then when we got to high school, she stopped playing volleyball and only played softball. Well, I stopped playing softball and played everything else. And honestly, our friendship kind of withered
Hmm.
away because now we gained friends in other areas. And so that could be just me being a bad friend and not keeping the connection. But you're right, sports just opens up your world of opportunity, competition, regret, just failure, just all of that. And so I do think that those that you bond with, or achieve something with, or fail with, you just grow together. It's
Yeah,
adversity,
yeah.
right? And whether you end up on top or bottom, you've got people, friends, teammates that are there with you through it all.
And the reason I make that point is because that's not just something that carries with you while you're younger. I mean, that played an aspect of me coming here. I
Mhm.
either could go to a school that I wouldn't have played a sport and just been another student on campus,
Yeah.
or I can come here, play football. I get to have an entire football team of friends, and then I get to meet other athletic teams and stuff like that. And I feel like that's more opportunity for growth and connections personally, which has played a role on why I came here. So that's why I bring up that point, because I feel like you know, as a kid, for me personally, the biggest thing was making friends. But I
Yeah.
made friends playing sports, and I feel
Yeah.
like the more sports I played, the more friends I've gotten, and just can explore all those different avenues.
You're right. As a kid, you kind of knock it out with like, one stone, two
Hmm.
birds. You're right. And I think in recruiting as a coach, I now see, because I talk to parents and I talk to recruits about, what is it that you're wanting from the collegiate setting? Like what are you wanting your environment to be like, the program to be like? And really they're kind of like, really, I just want like a family. I want to automatically have 18
Yeah.
friends when I get there, or now they've made a point of connection with me, like the parent has me
Hmm.
and the admissions rep or professor that they meet, or the kid that took them around campus. There's just those point of contacts. And so as a kid, you don't think about it. You
No,
play
no,
a sport, you
no.
make friends. But as an adult, you look back and you're like, wow, I was making friends because I was on the team.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right.
So now let's jump into, when did you said high school is when you stopped playing softball.
Yeah.
Was high school when you just strictly started to focus on volleyball?
Nope. I so my parents, my older sisters played softball. We all did religiously. We had this league that was in the summer. I mean, we kind of were forced to play. So because I was forced to play, I just stopped when I got to high school. I played for 1 year. And just I didn't play on varsity, so it was probably kind of like chip on my shoulder. I felt like I should have played.
Okay, yeah.
But I did fine on JV. It was great. I wanted to do track and I wanted to play tennis. Really, that was it. So yeah, after that, after I quit softball, I guess I still played basketball, volleyball for 4 years, and then I did track for 3 years, and I did tennis for 2 years. So yeah, still all around every season I was in something, practice, competing.
Was volleyball always your dream sport?
Um, I would say probably. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't amazing at basketball. Definitely not amazing at tennis or track. I mean, I think volleyball, so when I was a freshman, actually, I was on the team with both of my sisters. So there were 3 Crump girls on the court. Yeah. Interesting car rides to and from. But then we also had just a really successful year that
Mhm.
year. And the volleyball team was probably the best at the time at the high school. So I think it just drove me to continue to sustain success in that sport. And then when I was getting recruited, well, actually, I didn't really get recruited. It wasn't like it was now where there's showcases. And my mom, actually, I wasn't even allowed to play club until I was a sophomore in high school, which is total BS. Excuse my French, but so there just wasn't many other avenues for me. But anyways, when I was getting recruited, I started to have more confidence and believe in myself, and then it took off from there.
Actually, we're gonna go a little side note.
Okay.
When I spoke to Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
she mentioned how she got recruited to come to
Yeah.
Earlham, and I thought that was the craziest way, was when she made that NCSA profile,
Yeah.
and somehow you found her.
Yeah.
See what I mean? No matter how you get recruited, normally I never would think that you get recruited like that. But
Oh, yeah.
you know what? A strain of good luck, and you can
Yeah.
find the school that ultimately was a great decision for her that she talked about.
Right. It's as I remember when I was going through the recruiting process as a senior, super late. I was like, my hair was falling out. I was so stressed out, and I didn't have a highlight tape. And like I said, I wasn't really getting recruited. There's like a bunch of college coaches came to my games. There were a few that were interested and just had like kind of heard about me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And my high school team wasn't super successful after the good people left.
Yeah.
So it was like me and 2 other girls played club. But I remember I was super stressed. And as a coach, when these young ladies say like, "Oh, I'm a senior, it's so late," in my head, I'm like, no, because I'm here recruiting you. And so it's worked and you're fine. And parents want to spend trillions of dollars on a highlight tape.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just get out your cell phone, tape something with you hitting. Like, that's all I need to initiate this. Or for you to get your name out, you just have to post something or contact me. I work 9 to 5 at an office. Call me. And so it's interesting how recruiting has morphed and what I thought it was when I was a senior and a player and how now it is as a coach.
You know what? I say the same thing because the way I see how I ended up playing football is so ironic, because I played football in high school,
Mhm.
played basketball and stuff, but basketball was my first sport.
Okay.
I loved that sport. That's what I always wanted to play in college. But I played football because every person I knew, all my good friends were playing. I was like, I can enjoy this.
Mhm.
So once football season ended, I didn't even think about highlight tapes and nothing. I kind of just dumped it. All right, let's basketball season. Let's
Yeah.
roll. And then I ended up playing junior college for basketball.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to play a sport after JUCO into a 4-year. So I'm
Mhm.
sending out my stuff for basketball. And throughout the entire junior college process, I did miss football, but both
Yeah.
seasons kind of intertwined with each other, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't play both. And literally what I did is, before I graduated high school, after our senior year at our banquet, our coach makes these like DVDs of our best plays
Yeah.
out of the year. I literally threw that in my TV and literally with my phone, just every play I was in, clip by clip, and literally
Wow.
all the coaches that I contacted, there was about 50 attachments of all the plays I
Yeah.
was just in,
Yeah.
and ended up finding Earlham, and they responded. Next thing you know, I'm here playing football.
See, and you know why? And I'm sure Coach Johnson saw it in you was the hard work that just the initiative to sit there and, there's me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, pause,
Literally.
play. I mean, that is awesome. And what a story. And it's not just a story. You did it. Like, it's not a story to be told. You were doing
Mhm.
it, not thinking you would tell it later, right?
Yeah,
You were just like,
exactly.
I got
Yeah.
to get this done. Those are the intangible things that people don't think we notice or see, but it's actually what coaches want
Mhm.
and see and look for and notice.
Where did you grow up and go to high school? Was it around this area?
Indianapolis. So
Okay.
yep, an hour east. I went to Cecina Memorial High School,
Okay.
a Catholic private school, really small. It's like 300. Like when I was there, 320 people maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you ended up getting a scholarship to IU East.
Yep, I did.
How did that end up happening? How did you find IU East, and how did you end up getting a scholarship?
Yeah. So my friend was looking at schools for softball, and she was like, "You should look at IU Southeast." And so I was just Googling IU and then looking up like branch campuses and noticed that, IU East was a little bit closer than IU Southeast. And I contacted the coach. And at that time, I like sent some of the game film that one of the other players was like playing around with. So I put it in there and was just like, hey, here's me. Um, and we talked on the phone maybe for like 45 minutes the very first time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then, I went there, I filled out my application that day. The AD was sitting down with me having lunch, and I just felt like it felt right. Those little things that kind of happen. I don't know, those just like moments of like, oh, like, wow, that's really cool. Or, oh, I belong here. I just kept having them after, point after point after point. And yeah, and it was close enough and far enough away at the same time. I mean, it was just a good fit.
Did you always have that I wanted to go away from home, but wanted to kind of be close to home? I feel like every athlete's different when they feel that way.
Yeah, they are different. I'm not sure that I cared. I know my mom
Okay.
wanted me to stay super close. Gee
Well, that's
whiz.
normal.
I
Well,
know.
a lot of the times that's normal. Some
Yeah.
mamas like, yeah, get the hell out of my house.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not really sure that it mattered to me, but again, I just wasn't really getting looked at. So whoever was interested, I was just kind of
Of
visiting and
course.
seeing what happened. Yeah.
So talk about your transition from high school to college,
Hmm.
and specifically volleyball.
Yeah. I was a 4-year starter and also a 4-year captain, which is like, yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation. But my coach right off bat knew that I would be available and interested and willing to fill that role. And it really catapulted me to mature quick, but also learn how to run an offense and win a championship. And that was something that high school me couldn't do. I couldn't round up the girls enough to win and to win big matches. And I had a really good high school coach, though he didn't do much for me recruiting wise. He pushed me as an athlete, and that was something that I truly am grateful for.
Mm.
And I wish to emulate what he did for me. But yeah, so in college, it was just kind of a trial and error. Like I had a really good group of girls that came in with me, and my best friend at the time, she pushed me beyond my limits and was like, we're getting in the gym, like we're gonna go work out, hey, we're hitting 100 balls today. And I was a setter, so me and hitters, like that's our thing, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what we
yeah.
do. And I would say that we wanted it, we genuinely wanted it. We didn't want it because our coach told us. And that's the key. I mean, that is literally the ingredient that is usually missing, right? For some reason, these
Yes.
people love the sport and they want to go and play, but then when you get there, it's like, I don't really want it that much anymore, or I do, but like she's telling me I should. And we genuinely, from the bottom of our freaking heart, wanted
Yeah.
to win and wanted to win big because IU East just wasn't very good before we got there. And so we literally like, no, we're gonna win and we're gonna turn this around.
And I mean, generally now as a spectator, and understanding being around sports my entire life, it is not hard to actually point out which players do and don't when I'm
You're
actually
right.
watching a
You're
competition.
right.
Like I can tell easily just in a game, like, okay, who worked on that game, who did maybe the bare minimum, and who didn't do nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I can also tell by attitudes when you hear players like, "Oh my God, it's the coach's fault."
Mm-hmm.
And now just being around sports, it's so me personally, I can't speak for everybody else, but
Yeah.
it's just, and I'm sure coaches can easily say tell like, okay, I can tell who really worked out, who really put in the time on their game, and who
Mhm.
didn't.
You're so right. And sometimes, so you say it's easy, and I would agree. Like, for sure, there's some things that's like, yep, I know she didn't do anything over the summer or what have you. But sometimes it is tough to see who's putting in the work. And though the result is there,
Hmm.
how did the result get there? Did they really work out all summer, or are they just naturally athletic and they didn't have to get by?
Hmm.
And that's something that, like, of course, every coach and every team in America probably battles a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Because you know humans are humans. We want to relax
of
and watch
course.
Netflix and chill. So it's just interesting. And I think I was, man, I was kind of chunky going into college, and we never worked out in high school. Well, we did over summer, but then,
Hmm.
like, once season came and then we were in all these sports, I was never like in a building stage. So once we were playing, and I was just doing things because my coach told me. But then the switch from college was like, man, I don't get all this time with my coach. So a lot of what I do is on me.
Your own.
Yeah. And it's so evident and prominent here at Division 3. Like, we actually did the math the other day at our banquet, and I said, there's 256 days until today to this. Have you heard this? Today to until we report. There's 256 days. Guess how many I get to spend with you?
Out of 256, I'm gonna say probably around 25.
16.
Well,
The NCAA allows us 16 days out of those 200 and whatever, and that's actually less than when we actually ended. So, like, I only get 6% of your time until we start again. And so, right, like, that is super eye opening. And so as an athlete, I was like, man, okay, well, my coach can't be with me, so now it's about ownership and accountability. Those two are very different.
yes.
Ownership is when you do it, you want it, you intrinsically are motivating yourself because you want to win. And then the accountability, that's a coach or a friend holding you to it, right?
Of course.
Telling you to do it or asking you to join them. And both are okay. But I think one might take, one is ownership, is that, like, that grit, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that, like, oh man, like, I want it because I want it, not because she wants me to want it, or so they're both good, they both work. But I just think ownership will outlast
Yeah.
the, I don't know, the
But I
test.
also think, and one quick point is, what's fairly obvious is after the season you guys had and how close you were, which we'll get into in a bit, I'd be eager to get back in that gym.
Yeah.
Like, God, when's volleyball season?
Yeah.
It needs to come here, and the girls all returning should hold each other accountable. Like, yo, we right there. We put in
Yeah.
a little extra work.
Yeah.
We can beat them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you're right. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut you
you're
off.
good. Yeah.
We had individual meetings today, and literally one of the girls was like, I was texting one of the girls on the team saying, like, can we work out, or is it too early? Can we work out tomorrow? And so you're absolutely right. They see how close we are, and they want it.
Yes.
And that is, as a coach, so satisfying when they're already doing it. And I'm not, it's not that I'm sitting back and saying, okay, I'll manage, but it's yes, like, they already want it. Like, be calm, don't smile too hard. And that's the ultimate goal for a coach, is to empower them, instill whatever it is in them that they can go and do that. And it's
So after your freshman year, being a 4-year or named a captain as a freshman, which one is big, you don't really see that too often. What was the rest of going from freshman to sophomore, from junior to senior year? What was that like at IU East?
Yeah, so I got really into the recruiting process with my head coach. That's how involved and how invested I was, as well as the other the three others that were in our class. We were literally like, coach, who can we call or talk to or go see? And we would go to showcases and, like, look. And I was just truly invested. And I, like, when they came on campus, I took them around campus. But as a player, it was fun, and I didn't get paid or anything, but I wanted to know exactly who was coming on the team, because it's my team, was what I thought. I was kind of arrogant.
Don't worry about it. A lot of competitors are like that.
Yeah. And I would sit them down. It was a lot like this, and I'd be like, what are you going to do when there's a big party on Friday and we play for a championship on Saturday? Or or we have a blow off game on Saturday. What are you going to do on Friday or Thursday or Wednesday? Before I was drilling these girls. But I got super invested, and because of that, we kept combining the pieces of the puzzle, and our success kept growing. And it wasn't because it's easy to build. It really is. It's easier to build than to maintain and to continue on, right?
Yeah.
Like if you win a championship, you kind of have to win it the next year.
Of course.
So yeah, that's kind of how I became probably who I am today, is just really truly wanting something and then investing in the people that can help make it happen. And that's kind of like how the puzzle comes together. And I think it really helped me as a young adult.
And I think you bring up a good point because I was like that in high school, college, when I got here. If I had a game on a Friday night, I was in my room watching
Yeah.
TV in bed at a good hour to get some sleep. I mean, some of my teammates were out partying that night. That's their way. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna question it or anything like that. If we lost, I wasn't going out Saturday night because I was too pissed off about the loss. That was just the type of player I was personally. But I mean, one thing I learned quickly was everybody's different. Some of them can go out that Friday night and are fine to play. Did I agree with it? I think it's right. No, but you have your way, and I'm not going to tell you exactly how to live your life.
Yeah, and I did not learn that very quickly.
Oh,
nope. I was a dictator. I mean, my personality isn't necessarily dictatory.
Yeah.
But I wanted it so bad, and I wanted them to want it like I did. And
Mhm.
even as a young coach, not a young coach, but like as a coach a couple of years ago, same thing. I wanted them to act like me, to be like me, to play like me, to prepare and train like me. They needed to be me.
Yes.
And so it wasn't until a few years ago that I finally got the hint that they are not me. They don't want to be me. They don't care about what I've done in the past.
Yes.
They just want to grow and learn in their own way. And that was the biggest realization. Like I said, I didn't make it in college. I didn't make that realization until a few years ago, and I still haven't hammered it in yet.
Yeah, and I mean that's why that was just my whole thought process behind it. Like, who am I to tell this kid who's away from home for the first time?
Yeah.
In his world, he's probably free, don't
Yeah.
have rules, can go out and party whenever he wants. Who am I to tell him that, nah, bro, you gotta get in the room. We got a game tomorrow and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you gotta learn how to make those decisions. I can't make them for you.
Yeah.
And that's why I was able to learn it pretty quick. You mentioned you got into the recruiting process real big while you were still a player at
Yeah.
IUEs. Is that where you also found that maybe after you graduate, I want to get into coaching?
No. So it really wasn't. Well, I wanted to play. I wanted to keep playing. The middle that I had on my team that graduated with me, she and I actually found a place that we could go play in England. And we actually we had interviews, we had to apply, and then we got interviews, and we made it to the second round of interviews. We were going to try to be like a coach player type of role. But I also applied for a coaching job, just to kind of like keep it there. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So there was that. But then on senior night, like when they call out like Lauren Crump, and she wants to be a movie star, an FBI agent, or keep playing volleyball. Like those were the three things that I wanted to do. And I still truly want to be like a private investigator. I think that'd be cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So no, I didn't know I really wanted to coach until I decided not to play, go over to England. I decided not to do that. I decided to stay, go to Clarkson, where I got my first coaching gig. I was the graduate assistant there. And I learned under a really successful coach. We went to the Elite Eight in the NCAA Division III. We made it to the Elite Eight, had a great team. And I still was like a player, very much a player. I got to play in practice, and I got to like train with the setters, and I don't know, it was really neat. So I still wanted to play. And I actually ended up coming back to Indy. My boyfriend at the time, which now is my husband, was here. Actually, he was in Colorado. So we were like states away, and I wanted to be closer. So yeah, I came back here and did some stuff at LA Fitness. If you can believe it or not, I was like a spin instructor and a body pump. I don't know. I did that for a little bit, and then I got the job here at Earlham and truly dove into like caring about the program and seeing that it was a lot like my collegiate experience, like a college and a college that has the resources. There's a healthy budget. There's we have a great facility.
Yeah.
Why can't we win? Why aren't they winning? So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make them win.
Mhm.
And that's when I was like, I'm going to make them win. No. They're going to win. And that's kind of, I think, why we've had success is because of the girls and the culture and all of that that's built from where it was.
What was that feeling like when Earlham picked you to be the head coach of the volleyball team, and you pretty much took the jump from graduate assistant to now you got your own program?
Yeah.
And normally you don't see that quite often.
No, you
A lot of
don't.
people go through the ranks of graduate assistant, maybe second assistant, first
Yeah.
assistant, then the head coach.
Yeah.
You took the jump. So was that like a scared feeling, like, oh man, this is my opportunity feeling?
Well, I was an assistant for 1 year.
Oh, you
here.
were?
Yep,
Okay.
just so I went from Clarkson, and then I was the assistant for one
Okay.
season, right? And then I got the head job, and truly, it was like I wanted it, and I felt like I was ready for it because I was just really confident, and I wanted to do it. And I wanted to do it here. Like I wanted to do it at Earlham because I know that we can. And now, was I ready? Probably not. Probably not. I probably should have learned under more people,
Mhm.
saw different styles, what worked, what didn't. Because my first approach was very dictatorship. And like I said, I mean, I learned and I'll adapt and I'll continue to learn and grow. But just my style was very different. And at the time, I thought it's what we need. And yeah, I mean, those girls ended up doing really well throughout their 4 years, and they have graduated last year.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I think those whatever was happening, that laid the foundation of no, this program works hard, and we're Division 3, but we're training and we're competing
Yeah.
as if we're a Division 1 team because we want that success.
Was there pressure taking over a program that hadn't been successful in the past?
I mean, yeah, I think every athletic director wants their programs to succeed. So knowing that, hey, traditionally this program hasn't been successful lately, we're trusting you with it. Yeah, as a, I don't know, what was I, like 24, 25, as that, still I was all arrogant and was like, I can do this, but many times did I fail. But yeah, I would say that there's definitely some pressure, and hey, you have like 3 or so years to get this going. And that really didn't sink in until we started winning. And now I'm like, man, we just have to keep winning. We can't have a bad season. And so even now, going back to the tournament,
Mhm.
was it a relief? Sure. But it was also expected. And it's
course.
expected from me too, not just above me. And the girls expected it. And again, that is what is the root of all that we do, is that not the girls, the women, the young ladies, they want it and that they want to return.
You went what, your first 2 seasons before you got the conference win, or
So I'm trying to remember. We were like 4 and something my first year.
yeah,
And then we were 5 and something. Then we were 6 and something. So I think it took 3 years, and now we've had 3 seasons of winning
conference,
records.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, it took 3 years.
Yeah,
to
I was just
win the
talking
one
about
game.
conference. Took
Okay.
3 years?
Yep.
Okay. What was the biggest challenge for you that you weren't the first few years getting the results that you would have liked to have seen, but what was the challenge of trying to keep the girls mentally strong and keep going, that the results are going to come when the first few years they weren't necessarily showing up on the sheet?
Yeah, I think maybe, and I hope Sydney mentioned this, was like I literally was on the phone with recruits saying we are not going to be good this first couple of years, and we haven't been traditionally successful, and so it's going to take a mental grind, and it's going to be taxing mentally, it's going to be physically taxing, but it will come because, and I said this as a player a lot, hard work pays off, and I say it as an adult too because it's true.
Yeah.
Coach G, the yoga instructor,
Yeah.
he says there's no substitute for the work, and there's not. I mean, every single rep matters and every single point matters. And so that was kind of what I was like doing this mini boot camp all year long about, just like mentally drilling them and putting things in front of them that they had to overcome.
Mhm.
We have this thing called Volleyball. And I mean, I made it. Okay. Yeah. So do you know what a Tabata is?
I've heard of it.
It's a workout. So it's
Yeah,
20
yeah.
seconds on, 10 seconds of rest, 8 rounds. And so it's only 4 minutes long.
Okay.
When you think about 4 minutes, you're like, oh, that's nothing until you have to
Mhm.
right. Until you have to work for however many minutes of it. But I made it up. It's Volleyball. And basically what it ends up being is it doesn't, like the thing doesn't get easier, right? Like the holding, or so what's something that we do? We have 10 box jumps, but try like jumping on a box that's about 24 inches high, 10 times after you've already done like a suicide and all other stuff. So, and now you're nervous because now the whole team is watching you and it's just you were doing it on your own. It's not like that gets easier. You just get better. So like the first time we did a volleyball, I think one person passed. I think it was Ashley Burton. She was the only person that passed. And then the next day, like two more people passed. And the next day, like now 4 people are passed. And so it's like, and like, for example, this year, not everybody passed on the first day. So it's like, you need to go back and practice that. And until you pass, you don't get certain things. But it was like, we put this obstacle in front of you and you have to overcome it. Again, it doesn't get easier. You get better. And that's the message that I was trying to tell the first 2 or 3 years of the program to these girls was, the opponents aren't getting easier. You're getting better. So it's you're getting better. We're increasing your skill. And so that pumped them up, and that's the confidence. And now that they have self-confidence, now they're playing better, right? Because like when you look good, you feel good, like everything connects. And so it was about building confidence and letting them know that like Earlham is going to win. And we have to practice winning, and we have to practice overcoming and beating opponent. Like, I don't know. It was just the more experience we had on the team, the better too.
And I think people don't understand how much of a challenge that could be for a coach. And having gone through playing just this 1 year of football, but just in generally knowing what it feels like. Athletes don't like to lose, but constantly being on a team that loses, it can affect your mind. It's a lot of guys that I spoke to on this year's football team after a year of going 0-10, a lot of guys transferred.
Yeah.
And, they don't want to be around that no more. So people probably can't even imagine how much of a challenge was to keep getting these girls to believe that result is coming when, like I said, the win and loss column is showing the L's.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. I mean, I think about it now, but in the moment, I know it was on my mind a lot, like people just scrolling through Earlham Athletics webpage and being like, oh my gosh, they're 4-27. Like, no, I'm not going there. Close the book. And I know, I'm sure that happened more than I know. Cause right. Like those people didn't reach out. So, knowing that like people like Sydney or Lauren or Jill, those people that chose us, even though we were losing, that's who I want because they were willing to take a risk. They're not a risk, but they're willing to put in the work to see a program change, and they wanted to be a part of that. And we still haven't, in my opinion, we still haven't reached the top. Sure, we were runner up this year, but that doesn't mean that we're where we want to be. So it's about finding young ladies that want that and that want more and that will do more for it.
But as you know, any good team or good competitor is never complacent.
Right.
And
never.
You're never settled. But one thing I'd also say is while you're working and striving to be a winner, I would still also say enjoy the process and just enjoy competing.
Yeah.
Because I truly learned you never know when it's going to be your last play. And I'll be honest, I lost a lot in college. Like I went 3 years at JUCO. My first year, 8-18. I was actually one of the better years in the past 10 years.
Okay.
Second year, I redshirted, but the team went 5-21 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then my last year, we went 1-23.
Wow.
And then I get here and go 0-10.
Yeah.
But now, it was my mom who got into my head like, you still played though. Like, of course, would you have liked to win? Anybody would like to win. But you're doing stuff that you always wanted to do. You played college ball. You played college football. Did the wins happen? No, but you got to compete. A lot of people don't get to do that. And it took me a while to actually realize, like, you know what? I did.
Yeah. That's true. They talk about the percentage, right? How many, what's the percentage of student athletes going from high school to
college?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And you know what? Do I regret my experience? Not at all. I got to play. And I enjoyed all my playing moments. You're good.
That's probably the husband. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
You're all right.
Okay, it's off.
All right. What was that feeling like when you got that first conference win? That the years of hard work had finally paid off in this one particular game. Yeah. That you get the first conference win in so long, and what it was like for the girls who had been around since you had gotten here or even before.
I cried. I turned, hugged my assistant. We're, going crazy. I cried. I'm storming out. I mean, it felt really good. And it just, like it was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And it was a 5-set match,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
those are great. Those are just, those like ones where you can't sit
Yeah,
down long
yeah.
enough. Yeah, and it was truly a team effort. I love how just everything kind of comes together. Like it would have been weird if we would have won by a lot, right? Or 1-3. Like that's not fun. The 5-set match makes it better. It did. It felt good, and it was like reaffirming what we're here for as a coach, and then it reaffirmed probably to the players like, okay, shoot, we can do this. Okay, good, because you know what? We didn't just win one that year. We went on to win 2 more.
Ended up being the turning point.
Right. And we should have won another one that would have gotten us into the tournament. So it's that like, oh, we can do this. It's that overcoming. So
You win 3 games in that conference year, right?
mm-hmm.
Now the next year, you get another recruiting class, and you feel the team is getting better. The wins are starting to come, and that year, you guys actually kind of took off.
We did.
Yeah, you guys won a lot and ended up making the conference tournament. And talk about that year, that now that not only is it translating to a few wins,
Mm-hmm.
but now, we're starting to make a name for ourselves.
All right. So when we won the 3 games, we were ranked 10th in the preseason poll, right? So like, yeah, and we've always been at the
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
So then that next year, I think they put us at like 6th or 7th when we won those 3. They put us at 6th or 7th, and so that 6 or 7 rank, we actually ended up 3rd,
Wow.
finishing 3rd in the
Yeah.
conference. So we won 6 games that year. Man, and you're right, we did take off because we believed, and we were like, yeah, we can do this, and it got the girls excited again, right? And then we had another good recruiting class, and now it was like, okay, pieces are coming together, and we were starting to see that these names on the jerseys don't mean anything, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's been this like mental block of like, oh, that's Transy, or oh, that's Hanover, and I don't think we could get past that. And then we still lost to Transy and Hanover that year, but we beat like a Rose Holman,
Mhm.
and not many Earlham teams beat Rose Holman at most things. So it's like just breaking down those barriers, those like intangible, invisible
Yeah.
barriers, was why and how we took off. It was that just believing in ourselves.
Yeah. And then you make it to the conference tournament,
Mhm.
and you get to host the first round game.
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first time you guys ever got to host a tournament playoff game,
Right, a
correct?
first round game. Yeah, yeah.
So you get to host that game in front of the school, which a lot of people came out for that game.
It was the crowd. I mean, I literally just got the goosebumps because somebody took a really good picture of all of like the crowd behind us, and then like another picture's us all together, like hands in the middle cheering. It was on Halloween, or like, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was
I remember
on.
because I was pissed. I got stuck in my art class from 7 to 10 that night, so I was watching it on my phone.
Okay, well, at least you're okay.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an awesome environment, and you're right. We had never hosted before. That was super exciting. We won in 3, and we won like very convincingly. The beginning was shaky, and I feel like with us, with
Nerves.
Earlham, yeah, it's like that is
Yeah.
that first game jitters. But yeah, we did great. And the crowd behind us, all the support, it
Mhm.
was a really neat feeling.
Yes, you get that win, and then you move on to the next round where you guys get knocked out.
Yep.
But you feel the direction the program is going towards.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it all. I think I hope it's not a cliche answer, but it's just that experience. Like we won the first round game. Now we're here
growing
in the
pains.
semis. Yeah. And we're nervous. Oh man, we're nervous.
Oh, I
And
bet.
you can tell in some passing, and but it was good. I mean, we fought, and we played Rose Holman. We had beaten them when they
Mhm.
were ranked number 1 in the conference. We beat them. So it was like, we know we can do it, but it's just like, but we've never been here, and we've never done it here before.
The stage was just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But like I said, we feel the direction the program is in, and then you come back this season, and now you have a lot of returners because you played quite a bit of freshmen that year,
we
and
did.
now they had the experience of what that competition was like. The seniors that graduated, I know was Ashley the only senior that year? No, you had a couple. Sorry.
Yeah, we had 5 counting the manager.
Yes.
Carly. So yeah, we had 4 that were on the team and played
And then those seniors that laid the foundation
Right.
for those freshmen and also the younger players. So now they come into this year with experience, and after the success you guys had last year, I bet everybody was eager to see what the team brought in this year, and you guys didn't disappoint. And you
Absolutely.
actually, do our coaches the ones who have control of who schedules teams, or is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
okay? So preseason before conference, you schedule a very tough preseason playing some of the best teams in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
How do you feel your team responded to that?
I think we responded really well, which gave us a lot of self confidence. Now we played not so great against some of them,
Mm-hmm.
but then others, like in the middle of our season, we played number 15 in the country. When we played Transy, they were 17th or
Mm-hmm.
18th in the country. We actually beat a team that was ranked 11th, I think, last year. Beat them. Oh yeah, play. That is the key. Again, like I don't know. There's a lot of ingredients, but one of the key ingredients is playing tough teams and losing, eating
Mm-hmm.
some humble pie. I stole that one from Steve Sachs. It's
Oh no,
humble
you good eye.
pie,
Yeah.
humble pizza. I don't know what he says. Like losing and losing bad. That works
Mhm.
too. But then winning or like taking points or sets off. We do make these mini goals each game, and it's always like, oh, they need to call the first time out,
course.
or we're going to frustrate number 10 so bad that they have to take her out in the back row. Just little things like that. And I mean, we'd set these goals and we hit them. And when we play these bigger teams, I hope that it wasn't their thought of like, let's just try not to suck. And I don't think it was. I could hear them say, no, let's win. Like, let's play to win, and let's make these mini goals and hit them. Like, let's do this. And so that the winning will take care of itself if we
Yeah.
focus on this. Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I believe if you ain't out here to win, then what you out here to do?
Amen.
That's always been my mindset.
Yeah.
But some coaches like to schedule teams they know they can for sure beat to
Yeah.
build confidence up in
Yeah.
their team. You clearly went the opposite route of that, and let's schedule the best teams we can
Mhm.
play, because that'll only help us in conference and also down the line, which I personally believe. I love playing the
Yeah.
best teams we can possibly can. But before going into that season, what was it like when the team got together and set the goals for the year? Like I said, you coming off a tournament win,
Yeah.
you making the tournament one of the best years volleyball has had. What were the goals coming into this year?
Yeah. So okay, I told the girls we can't have the same goals as we did last year, because the previous season we said like make it to the tournament, but then when we made it, they erased it, and they were like go to the semis, and then they erased it, and like, okay, win. And so I said, one, we can't change our goals. Because it's true. And actually, when we went to the tournament this year and played Hanover, I said, people don't make goals, they don't write down things because they won't achieve it. Like, think about it. People all the time want to lose weight, right? They don't want to say, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. They say, I want to lose weight, but they won't put a number on it, because if they don't hit it, they're not successful. So that was kind of like my spiel before Hanover. I
Okay.
said, you guys said you wanted to win conference. That was your goal this year, was to win conference. Well, this team in front of you, they're in your way. And I said, you guys wrote down win conference. You didn't say get there. You didn't say, beat certain teams to get there. No, you said win it all. And I said, people don't write these goals down, or they write ones that are reachable, or the SMART goals, right? Attainable. No, you wrote something down that we really didn't know if we would be able to do it or not. And I said, you wrote it down. Now it's time, it's time to buck up, right? It's time to do it. And they responded obviously really well. But you asked me about my goals, or the goals. That was one of them.
Of course.
Another one was a 3.6 GPA or higher. And then this one I loved. It was be a selfless teammate. And time again, our actions or the way we played in certain games, really, really tested that. There were some matches where, man, we played selfish, or we didn't play at all. And by the end, it was really cool and neat to hear from different people that were supporting us, who were opening our eyes to, man, volleyball is so team and emotionally, oriented, that this person has to pass really well so that she can get a really good set, and so that this person has options to hit. There are more intricacies than what people think, because they do it on the beach, and it's fun. So it was really neat to see people like getting into the roots of volleyball and understanding, or bringing out the I don't know, deeper understanding for our girls to be like, oh yeah, we need each other. And so that selflessness like tested us over and over and over again.
And I mean that what as we talked about, what helps is playing a tough non-conference schedule, which you guys did.
Mhm.
Then you guys jump in the conference and start off strong. I mean, a couple of speed bumps in the way, teams you probably think you should have beat.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
didn't go your way. But the one game in specific I remember because I remember working that game. Was the transit game,
Yeah.
Transylvania, who was picked obviously to win
Yep.
the tournament, ranked in the country at that
Yep.
time. And sorry, as like when we talked about it before, if you weren't here and just see the final score, it was a 3-0 sweep. So it don't look like
Right.
it doesn't look like much. But for somebody who was here who watched the game, it was a really competitive game that you guys were in every set. And in my personal opinion, I thought should have won some of those sets.
Oh yeah.
But I thought that also showed that you know what this is uh, pick the best team in the conference, ranked in the top 20, and you guys are competing, not
Mhm.
just not getting embarrassed maybe like a few years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you guys are right there. What was that telling you about your team?
It's telling me, and it told me at the time that I don't think the girls knew what or how, I guess, what they were capable of. And so playing well against one, a ranked team, and two, a conference opponent that we've never beaten before, and playing that well showed them that, that there's more in the tank. We didn't play our best and we still stuck with them. And I know I'm not even saying that as like an incomplacent coach. I'm
Yeah,
saying that as like we probably could have done better. Whereas I think they gave everything they had and we could have probably pushed a little more. And you're right, one a set or two or the game. Um, but like when it was all said and done, I came out smiling. I'm happy with our performance. It leaves more in the tank because I know that we can do it, and I'm hoping that the girls feel that. Um, but just it also it's another layer of things that Earlham volleyball probably never talked about before, which is
hmm
getting recognized nationally. Like, well, first of all, we need to be regionally recognized. We need to start earning votes, towards the national polls. But I think playing so well against them, hopefully we are part of the conversation
yeah,
now. Mount Union, Muskegum, ONU, Illinois Wesleyan, all these teams, Transy, these are teams that have received votes or they are nationally ranked that we played this year. And
yeah.
so as if we can continue to do well and now win games against those opponents, we will become a part of a bigger conversation.
hmm
And I don't think that teams before, and even myself, had envisioned that. And so now it's not even about winning a championship. Like now it's as a coach, it's kind of like, and as the players, I know they've talked about it too. It's
Yeah.
like, no, now we're going to start playing nationally and regionally ranked teams so that we can become part of like, oh, now everybody knows about Earlham and that in the region people want to play us because we're a tough opponent. And we did gain some of that respect this year.
And I can tell, being the person who called the game that day, I think the first set you guys came out and absolutely surprised Transylvania.
Yeah.
They weren't ready.
No.
They weren't expecting what you
Mm-mm.
guys had to the table that day. You finished the rest of the season. You finished third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third in regular season.
Third in regular season to go into the tournament, the third seed.
Yep.
You get Bluffton, another home tournament game. You're hosting for a second straight year, but this time it's not a shocker. It's okay. We got unfinished business, and I can tell that was the attitude of the team.
Yeah.
So you take care of Bluffton at home. Then you go to Transylvania, which is where the tournament was hosted at, and you get Hanover, which was a team that swept you in the regular season.
And when you say swept, can I like emphasize swept?
Well,
Swept.
and you know what?
With a
Sydney
big
did that as
broom.
well. Sydney
push
said that.
broom.
I remember when I spoke to Sydney, she said that was the worst game y'all played all year.
Yeah.
That when they swept you. So I can imagine there was extra motivation going into that game against Hanover. And you talk about when you won the first game, it was maybe not that fun winning a 3-0 or a 3-1. So
Yeah,
same thing going into the championship game. Why it's no fun winning a 3-1
It's
game?
not.
It was a very dramatic game. Talk about that game against Hanover.
Oof. You say drama filled. It was. I mean, it was so good, so challenging, and honestly, it took everything we had to beat them. Which is Right, that's all you can ask for, really. Like, that is, if you paid $7 to get in, you
Yeah,
earned the money.
yeah.
We earned you a good game. Um, it was so that first set. I will tell you this. I think he called the first time out too, which is one of our like small
Yeah,
goals.
yeah.
Um, and he called that timeout. I mean, we were so loud that everybody in the stands, no matter who they were cheering for, eyes on us. I mean, it was so it overtook the gym. I mean, that is literally our team overtook the gym. I think from the very first set, you knew we were going to win. We didn't know how many points it was going to take, how many game points it would take in the fifth set. We were going to win,
Mhm.
and we made that clear. Our warm up, I mean, perfect. You couldn't have done a better warm up. So the girls knew the energy was again overtaking, and that was something that has truly been building and like boiling for 6 seasons in everybody's blood, not just mine. And it was awesome. Honestly, it felt better than the Manchester win, being the first one in
Yeah, yeah.
program or in the HCAC history. I mean, yeah, this game has overtaken many of our memories, and um, we had like what 3 or 4 set points in the fifth set, which was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
dramatic.
yeah.
Um, my like charging out to the court was probably super dramatic, but I mean, yeah, I did cry. I don't know that anybody saw me. I wiped them away really quick, but I mean, it's just because they work so hard, and and I could tell they wanted it. They knew they wanted it. They knew that they've been working hard. We put them through a lot of crap. We do. They work out. In the in season and the off
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
we're doing pool workouts. We're yoga. We're eating right. Like, we're doing these things. Why can't it end in our favor? And it wasn't even about like luck at that point. We showed up to the gym winning. I mean that, and I think I knew that as a coach, like secretly, I knew that we would win that day. And I think after the warm up, they felt it, and so man, that energy, it was just. I remember maybe the fifth set or third, I don't know. I called or he called a timeout, and we do our little groups, and then I came in the middle. I said, "We are not going to stop talking until we're in bed tonight," like, because that's one of the things that helps in a volleyball game is emotion and chatter.
I
I
believe
mean,
that in all sports.
yeah, okay, good. So that's what it is, and that is what gave us a boost to beat them.
We get through Hanover. You guys put everything into that matchup to get to the conference championship. Then within what 12 some hours, you got to turn
Hmm.
around and play the actual conference championship against the home Transylvania team, and it did not go the way you guys wanted. And when I spoke to Sydney, she wasn't an excuse, but she was just like, you guys put everything into that game against Hanover. By the time Transylvania game was ready to go, you guys were just so drained emotionally and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that I believe that that's a growing pain. I think you guys have to that you guys are going through. But do you feel like that was the case, that coming into that Transylvania game, you guys were just so drained after everything you gave to against Hanover the night before?
It's interesting to ponder that. I think I would say probably as a coach, I didn't do the best I could to put that game to bed, right? Like,
Hmm.
it should have been left in the bed at the hotel, right? And instead, it can go one or two ways, and unfortunately went the wrong way. Like, you can either wake up with that enthusiasm and that spark, that power, because many teams have done it in the past
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
championship level, um and yeah, unfortunately, maybe we did leave it in bed and we should have taken it with us, or we took it with us and it didn't work. I don't know, but um we I don't think we played drained. They just played really well. They
Well,
played disciplined, and I mean, kudos to them. They played a tough game, and they not that they were more energetic than us. They just, I don't know, they just brought it. They had it that day, and we did not. But it's really inspiring because we lost. I don't know if Sydney already talked about the game to you, but man, we lost bad the first set.
we didn't really cover how bad you guys lost. I will say, speaking to some of the team outside of after the game, yeah, all of them. that I spoke to said that it wasn't the best game you guys played.
It was not. It wasn't the best set that we had
Okay.
played. I mean, we at one point I think it might have been like 20-3 or 17-3 or 4. I mean, something that outrageous. I mean, you could hear and feel the crowd like settle in, like, and um, most of the time, and that's why I love volleyball is because it goes back to 0, right? And
Yeah.
so most of the time the teams can like re-energize or they're done, right? Like there's again one or two
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of volleyball. And actually that's what I said to the team going into the second set. We brought them in and I said, this is the beauty of volleyball, baby. It is 0-0. Like we get
Mm-hmm.
another shot. We actually get 5.
Yeah.
We get
Yeah.
5 shots to win. So one's done. And so then we go into the second set, we play our hearts out and we barely lose. And then, the third, it just, that wasn't us. And we were
Yeah.
playing, kind of going through the motions. And I hate recognizing that and saying that out loud because I don't want to discredit the team
Of
for
course.
what they did and how hard they fought. Did Hanover take a lot from us? Yes. Was it worth it? 110%. So I don't want to discredit or take away anything. It's just Transy played ready,
Yeah.
and that's what a number 1 seed will
Mhm.
do, should do, did do.
And I personally feel after watching the game, I felt like one, you weren't going to surprise Transy like you guys play in the regular season.
Mhm,
I think they
mhm.
were ready for you.
Right, the element
Two,
wasn't
I
there.
feel like one, they're at their home gym. They done been in the conference championship so many times, they're used to it. And three, watching that second set, you guys came out so much better than the first set. I feel like you said it right. You put your hearts in that second set because I feel like as a competitor, to a team like Transylvania, you fall down 2 games to 0. It's very hard to beat a team like that
Mhm,
3 sets in a row. But talk about the overwhelming support you got from the school. Once you guys got to the conference tournament, the school paid for charter buses. I'm not sure if it was charter, but buses to
mhm.
get fans down there for the games. Not just Saturday, but Sunday. Athletic teams who had games that day were sending you guys support videos,
Yeah.
cheering about get the conference championship, posters. Horton for president poster
Yeah.
from one of our student athletes here at school. But just talk about how much the support you guys got from not just the athletic department, but from the entire school meant to the team.
It felt amazing. And they're not even my peers, the student athletes
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
student body. So on the athletes level, that has to feel good and feel just overwhelming. On the like administrative or coaching side, it is the ideal work environment. That is many coaches, might hop around to find an environment like this where they are supported and the department is healthy and there's good leadership and Benita, Kim Tanner, just the president, and all of them played a significant part in yes, getting the fan buses down there, supporting us, blasting it on social media. Actually, David Knight and Brad Wood, also
Yeah,
Susanna
yeah.
Tanner and their whole team over there, and Tyler Hall, the marketing department, blasting it on our website. They actually put a banner on the top of the website. So anybody that came to our website saw it that day. And he actually, David Knight called me and said, it's really great what you guys are doing over there. And I want everybody to know, not just the student athletes or people that go to the athletic website. Everybody should know. Um, and that again, like administratively and coaching, that is the ideal environment that you want to be in. And things that players probably take for granted or just don't see, which is no fault to them because I did the
Yeah.
same thing as a player. That stuff didn't matter, or at least, I just thought a bus appeared. I just thought that we got to eat because we got to. I didn't know that was a
Yeah, yeah,
budget.
yeah.
So they should feel supported and loved, and because it's genuine. I nobody Anne didn't make people come to the game. She paid for the opportunity to make it happen.
Mhm.
And that's what's super inspiring is that when the people above you want you to succeed, the people around you encourage and foster this environment. It's really really nice to know that that is what I'm working with and working, I don't know, within. And yeah.
How do you feel as a coach? I mean, we've already talked about it a little bit off camera that the girls are already talking about working out. They're eager to get back into the gym. How do you feel, or what do you feel like you can do next year help the team take that next step and
Mhm.
not just get to the conference tournament, but now winning?
In my opinion, it's a 12-month commitment. Now I know there's Division 3 rules and we're not able to
Hmm.
make things mandatory, and I respect that and I abide by it and I love it. I love Division 3 for it. We actually hired a strength and conditioning coach, and that is going to be the game changer. To have somebody that is the professional
Yeah,
doing the
yeah.
job, but also giving the girls that adversity, right? Like you're literally breaking your muscles, right? Like you're sweating, you're doing these things so that they can repair and build again. And that's the same thing with relationships. You're right, people are excited about working out, they're excited to get back in, they're engaged in the process. And like I said, it's a 12-month process. It's not the 2.5 months that we get in season. It's not just that 6% that we get to be with you. It's the 100% of the commitment that you made when you came on campus. And I do want to mention part of that commitment is academics.
Hmm.
And I never want to shy away from that. Actually, in one of my first interviews ever as a head coach, I said, I don't want volleyball robots. And to this day, I still don't want it. I don't want you to be breathing, and sleeping volleyball, because that's not healthy. And volleyballs taste bad. Kidding. I've never
Gotcha.
eaten one. But I do think that a healthy human being and a
Hmm.
healthy student athlete will be confident, and they won't just be confident in the sport. They have this confidence that they might have gained from the sport. And so they're able to
Yeah.
do that with academics, or they're really smart. And so they're confident in themselves and now they play better.
Hmm.
I love it. I love how layered and how, just multifaceted human beings are, and that it's not just volleyball that or just the skills that you have that make you good. It's the
Yeah.
body language, it's the emotions, it's the dealing with people and interacting. And man, it means everything has to be packaged with a bow.
um, you mentioned the 12-month plan to get to the
Mhm.
next step, and I want to bring up what you brought up earlier before that. In there's what 250 some days
Yeah.
till the next year season starts, and you only get to be with them 16 out of those
Mhm.
250. Um, you got three seniors that are graduating, if correct,
Yep.
and then you got a lot of your team coming back,
Mhm.
fresh recruits coming in. You got the four, the sophomores that are ready to be the leaders on the team now, plus the seniors that'll be seniors next year. How can you get them to not only work as hard in the off season, but get them to realize that there's still another step that we have to take, but we also can't take a step back next year.
Mhm.
That we can't go from being in the conference tournament to either barely making it or getting bounced in the first round.
Have you heard of the story with like the elephant on a chain?
No.
So I kind of don't know the whole thing, or I might not be able to explain it well. But basically, there's this baby elephant, and they would chain him up, right? So the elephant knew that he could only go so far,
Hmm.
and this is like throughout him living and growing up into an adult
Yeah, yeah,
elephant.
yeah.
Well, they take the chain off, and he's not going anywhere. He's staying put because he just thinks that he can't go anywhere, right? So I'm saying this because you're right. We do have a strong sophomore core, and we've got other
Of
players that
course,
also
yeah.
play a role, but they only know how good or how much potential they have, or how, I guess, great we can be with how long or shorter if that chain is there. And to me,
Hmm.
the coaching staff is the chain, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually a lot of pressure on us as a coaching staff to push them beyond, take that chain off. And now it's like, no, we have more to give, and now you didn't have your best performance last year. And what else can we give them, or how else can we push them, or what's something that we can say differently to let, or to just maybe wrap around their heads just a different way. So that is the plan, is to, I wish I had a better word than push, but it's about challenging them, and inspiring them that they have more to give. And it's about finding those little tweaks, because they're good, right? I mean, the athletes that we have,
Of course,
we're
yeah.
like tweaking skills, and but not all of them have the skill. So now we still have to teach it too, and we have to
Hmm.
reteach it, and reps. And um, so it's going to be, as a coaching staff, finding what works, and finding what doesn't work, and making the changes right away. So I'm really thankful that we get those 16 days in
Hmm.
the spring, because we can now have individuals, and now we just have the hitters together. And I think it's a great time for growth. And that is exactly what even the sophomore class needs
Yeah.
is growth and development. And that's something that in the past I wasn't very good at. But now we've got a great coaching staff. Anne Marie is awesome, and she's really good at developing players as well. So it's about now combining our strengths and hopefully finding the holes in the spring and filling them in.
Hmm.
So then when we get to the summer, we have some captains and some leaders that can rise up and hold them accountable, because we can't. And then when they get here in preseason, it's about kind of just going right away. Because as we mentioned before, we play at least 3 to 4 nationally ranked opponents,
Yeah.
if not more. It could shake out a little differently with
Mhm.
how things ended in the tournament. So I'm really excited, and with the group that we've got moving on, it'll be another case of
course.
like, who steps up and when. It's on the team, and hopefully
Mhm.
with the players that we bring in, they fill in and they do what they do.
Yeah.
But we will have the package. It's just about people, you know, pulling up and people, feeling confident and feeling empowered by their teammates. And I can't stress enough how just team oriented we have to be
Yeah.
to win a championship.
And it's not just the team that's excited. I mean, I'll speak. You got the whole athletic department excited. I had Coach Sack on here a couple weeks ago, and he said he feels like you're going the same route his team went. You get the
Yeah.
tournament, then you win, get to the championship. You guys they ended up losing that, then they won the next year. He feels like you're
Hmm.
going that same route. I got one more question.
Yeah.
And you're 6 years here, and obviously coaches never stop learning. What do you feel like you've learned the most as a coach since you've took over the Earlham program?
Mm. Always learn. Like never stop learning.
Hmm.
I never liked reading, but man, I still don't read. I listen on Audible. So I still don't read. I need to work on that. But I've listened to like 13 books in the past year. Which I don't know. That's what our people our age are
Yeah.
doing now. We're reading books. No, for real, always learn, continue to learn, and never think that your way is the highway. That's why I love coaching, because it's an art. It's not a formula. And actually you talk about Coach Sack. He was actually like my mentor. I don't know if he views me as a mentee, but when I was an assistant, I would be in his office constantly. We're throwing back ideas, and you're right. He had a track of success. I want to be successful, so I'm
Hmm.
going to learn from him. Same thing with books, right? I'm reading to see how I can make my team better, how I can make myself a better coach. That's the biggest thing, is that I don't know everything, and my way is not the highway. Now there's some things that I'll stay true in and that I'll stay confident about. But that's why it's, I don't know, it takes a community, right? It takes a team to win. It takes a community to really grow and learn in something that's so fluid.
Hmm. Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. Everybody who tuned in, I appreciate you for watching. Get to hear Coach Horton's story. If you like what you saw, we will have more content up for you as soon as possible. I thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to wish everybody a good day, and we'll see you again soon.
See ya.